Everyone wants a nutrition villain. Carbs were the villain. The thin fat was the villain. Then sugar became a villain. Then gluten became a villain. Now, apparently, the entire fate of human civilization rests on whether your salad dressing contains canola oil. If you've spent any time on social media lately, you've probably seen the war. One side says seed oils are toxic industrial wastes that are single handedly driving obesity, inflammation, chronic disease, and possibly the collapse of the Roman Empire. The other side responds by posting charts showing seed oils are perfectly safe and everyone should stop being dramatic. And as usual, both sides have managed to take something very real and turn it into a raccoon fistfight behind a dumpster. Because the actual question isn't whether seed oils are good, the actual question isn't whether seed oils are bad either. The actual question is whether we're focusing on the wrong thing. Welcome to the friction test. So let's talk about seed oils versus the bigger picture. And here's where the anti seed oil movement gets something right. Modern diets contain substantially more omega 6 fat than they used to. Not because people are drinking soybean oil straight from the bottle like some kind of nutritional goblin, but because processed food is everywhere. Restaurant food, fast food, snack food, packaged food, convenience food. The average person isn't adding a tablespoon of soybean oil to their diet. They're eating foods that contain it everywhere. And omega 6 intake has climbed dramatically over the past century. That part is true. Where things get a little weird is when people make the jump from omega 6 intake increase to therefore seed oils are the primary cause of modern disease. And that's where the wheels start coming off the shopping cart. Because something increasing at the same time as obesity doesn't automatically make it the culprit or the only culprit. Ice cream sales increase when shark attacks increase. That doesn't mean mint chocolate chip is summoning marine predators. Correlation, not causation. Nutrition is unfortunately more complicated than finding one ingredient and declaring it public enemy number one. But seed oil defenders also tend to oversimplify everything. Their argument often sounds like this: studies don't show seed oils causing disease, therefore, there's nothing to worry about here. Look over there. Well, and that's not entirely satisfying either, because humans don't consume isolated nutrients in laboratory conditions. They consume dietary patterns, and those dietary patterns matter a lot. So the real discussion shouldn't be happening around omega 6. The real discussion should probably be happening around omega 6 to omega 3 ratio, not seed oils alone, not omega 3 supplements alone, the ratio. Because omega 6 fats and omega 3 fats both serve very important functions in your body. Both are essential. You need both. You cannot survive long term without either one. And this is where the internet probably gets really angry because people love simple stories. I'm going to make it as complicated as fuck. Unfortunately, biology doesn't cooperate with what people want. Omega 6 fats help support immune responses, cellular signaling, growth, repair, and numerous physiological processes. Omega 3's fats support cardiovascular function, neurological function, visual function, and help regulate inflammatory pathways. Both are necessary. The problem isn't that omega 6 exists, the problem is that modern diet patterns often create a massive imbalance. Historically, estimates suggest about humans consuming omega 6 to omega 3 ratio somewhere around 1 to 1 or 4 to 1. But Western diets are estimated to fall somewhere between 10 to 1 and 21, sometimes even higher depending on what you're doing and what you're eating if your McDonald's is your lifestyle. But that's not because omega 6 suddenly became evil. It's because omega 3 intake didn't keep the same pace. People aren't exactly stampeding towards sardines these days. Most people eat very little fatty fish. Many don't consume meaningful amount sources of EPA or DHA at all. Meanwhile, processed foods contain omega 6 rich oils show up constantly throughout your week, and the ratio will drift. The balance changes. And that may matter. Notice what I just said. May. Because nutrition science is messy. There are mechanistic arguments, there are observational studies, there are randomized controls, there are confounding variables everywhere. People want certainty where certainty rarely exists. But here's what we can say: a dietary pattern dominated by ultra processed food tends to produce poor outcomes. A dietary pattern that includes more whole foods, more fish, more minimally processed protein sources, more fruits, vegetables, and more fiber tends to produce better outcomes for your performance. That relationship is remarkably consistent, which creates a funny little problem for that seed oil debate. Because two people can remove seed oils and end up in completely different places. Person number one removes seed oils and starts eating more fish, more whole foods, more protein, more vegetables, and less processed food. They feel better, they lose weight, their health markers improve. Then they conclude seed oils were a problem. Maybe. Or maybe they just stopped eating like a raccoon that gained access to a convenience store. Meanwhile, person number two removes seed oils and replaces everything with butter drenched junk food, highly processed carnivore desserts, and enough saturated fat to lubricate a tractor. Technically, they remove seed oils. Their diet still remain terrible, though. And that's the problem with nutrition tribalism. People focus on one variable while ignoring the entire system. The opposite side makes a similar mistake. Some people hear that omega-3 fats are beneficial and immediately decide more must be better. Humans have an incredible talent for turning useful information into absurd behavior. We do it constantly. The internet discovers protein is important. Suddenly, someone's trying to consume enough protein to sedate a rhinoceros. The internet discovers cold exposure. Now, people are sitting in garbage cans full of ice, pretending they're training for an expedition across Antarctica. The internet discovers omega 3s. Next thing you know, somebody is swallowing fish oil capsules like they're Tic Tacs. That's not how it works. You don't want the ratio swinging infinitely in either direction. Both omega 6 and omega 3 pathways have physiological roles. The goal should never be about elimination, it should be about balance. And no one likes those boring answers, which is exactly why social media hates it. Nobody gets millions of views saying, modern adjustments to dietary patterns may improve outcomes depending on your individual context. Nobody clicks that shit. People click, this oil is destroying your mitochondria. That's going to get 1,000 views within seconds. That's how the algorithm in news rolls. But real life is usually found somewhere in the middle. So if someone asked me whether seed oils are the biggest nutritional problem facing modern humans, my answer would be no. Lack of movement is a bigger problem. Excess calories are a bigger problem. Ultra processed food dependence is a bigger problem. Poor sleep, low protein, chronic stress, low fruit and vegetable consumption. Those factors have mountains of evidence behind them. Meanwhile, people are spending 6 hours arguing about canola oil while averaging 4,000 steps per day and treating sleep like a government conspiracy. That's backwards. Can omega 6 intake become disproportionately high? Yeah. Can omega 3 intake be beneficial? Sure, absolutely. Can reducing highly processed food improve health? Yeah. Can removing seed oils alone magically fix your entire life? No, because nutrition is not a single ingredient, it's a pattern. A weekly pattern, a monthly pattern, a yearly pattern. Your body doesn't care about one bottle of oil sitting in your pantry. Your body cares about what it repeatedly happens to it. The pattern is your signal. The ingredient is often a distraction. That's your friction. The anti seed oil crowd is probably right that many people should pay attention more to omega 3 6s and omega 3 balances. The pro seed oil crowd is probably right that seed oils themselves are not the nutritional apocalypse. Both sides have pieces of truth. Both sides often oversimplify the story. And the truth, as usual, is sitting awkwardly in the middle, wondering why everyone is yelling at each other. Stop looking for villains. Start looking at your patterns. Because you can remove seed oils and still build a terrible diet. You can add omega 3s and still build a terrible diet. You can win the internet argument and still lose the health outcome. And unfortunately, your metabolism doesn't care who won the comment section.